Okay, last time we were in Surah Al-Haaqqah and we discussed let me turn on the lights. All praise be to Allah, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon His Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and those who follow in his footsteps till the last day. Last time we took from first ayah up to ayah number 12, and just to recap what we have taken and go over it again. Let's just look into what we discussed last time. We said Surah Al-Haaqqah is given other names like Surah Al-Silsila or Surah Al-Wa'iyah, because in this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned وَتَعْيَهَا أُذُنٌ وَاعِيَةٌ, or when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned Silsila in it, okay? So they call it Silsila, or they call it Al-Wa'iyah, or they call it Al-Haaqqah, but most popular name is Al-Haaqqah, as we know, okay? And we said also that this surah has basically three subjects, okay? This surah has talked about the destruction of the liars and disbelievers in this life, because they disbelieved in Al-Qari'ah or in Yawm Al-Qiyamah, like Ad, Thamud, and Fir'aun, and the people of Noah. Then it talked about the Day of Judgment and how horrible events will take place then, and talks about the reward given to the righteous. We ask Allah to make us among the righteous ones, and the what would happen to the rich and the kuffar. So this is mainly the subjects of this surah, okay? In this surah also, it is intended, for in this surah to give some lessons to this ummah, that they should realize and know that what had encountered the people for them may encounter the people who disobey and disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have to take lessons from what had occurred to the nations before us, okay? And know and realize the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punishes those people due to their disbelief in what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought to them or revealed to them through their prophets, and also due to the fact that they disbelieved in the Day of Judgment. And no doubt, he who would, we have a proverb in Arabic, it says, Man amin al-uqubata asa al-adab. Whoever would think that he's secure, would believe that he would be secured from being, punished for bad behavior, all of his, behaviors will be bad. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. So we have to do our best to be careful and not, to do anything that goes against, against us in this life and in the hereafter, especially that will draw the displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned, Thamud. And Thamud, as we know, they are the people whom Prophet Salih was sent to. And Ad, and those Ad are Qawm Hud, the people whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the messenger Hud to them. And he mentioned that both of Qawm Salih and Qawm Hud, Thamud and Ad, they disbelieved in Al-Qari'ah. Al-Qari'ah is the Day of Judgment, as we said. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had, he had excommunicated them and, destroyed them. And he mentioned how he destroyed them, Well, also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the people of Pharaoh and how he drowned him, this tyrant, this king who used to rule Egypt, what's called Egypt now. And he was one of the, most tyrants ever in the history, to the extent that the Prophet ﷺ said, that Abu Jahl is Fir'aun هذه الأمة, is like the Fir'aun, of the past. And every time we had, what we can say, a mini Pharaoh, a mini tyrant. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from the tyrants and the disbelievers all around, the whole world. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide the Muslims to tread the path of righteousness and establish the Sharia and the Deen in themselves and their families and spread it, because by abiding and adhering to the Sharia, this is the great da'wah we can do at least. But no doubt, he who would comply and adhere to the Sharia and adhere to the way of the righteous predecessors, the Prophet ﷺ, the companions, rightly guided caliphs and the companions, and the grounded scholars, he will, he will take the initiative to do da'wah to others and to help to the best of his ability, because he knows this is his duty, as it was a duty to the prophets to convey the message, is the duty of their, you know, followers, to spread the knowledge they brought, as to save the world and to save what they can save, and at least to free themselves from, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from the liability. Okay, let me, sorry. Okay, I have to mute all. Okay, I have to mute all. Sorry. Now, in the other ayat, which to follow from ayah number 13 onwards, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فإذا نفخ في الصور أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فإذا نفخ في الصور نفخة واحدة وحملت الأرض والجبال فدكتا دكة واحدة فيومئذ وقعت الواقعة وانشقت السماء فهي يومئذ واهية والملك على أرجائها ويحمل عرش ربك فوقهم يومئذ ثمانية يومئذ تعرضون لا تخفى منكم خافية. Allah المستعان. This ayat from ayah number 13 to ayah number 18, it talks about the day of judgment, and it gives us some, what we can say, some perception of what would happen at that day, that horrible day that's beyond imagination. And as we mentioned last time, or in our other classes, that not the one who hears about something like the one who witnesses it or sees it or experiences it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us and guide us to the way most pleasing to Him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَإِذَا نُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ نَفْخَةٌ وَاحِدَةٌ. When the sur is, as we know, the trumpet, or it is, the angel whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made in charge of the trumpet to blow in. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would order him to blow, and when it is blown, then what would happen? The earth and the the magnificent mountains would be crushed crushed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. And that day, it would be known that Al-Waqi'ah, or the Day of Judgment, had occurred and had taken place. The skies will crack and it will be seen so weak, you know, unlike it was before. Then the angels would be on its borders and it's surrounding it, you know, and they would be carrying the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of our Rabb, you know, and 8 of them would be carrying the throne. At that day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you will be uh, displayed and you will be resurrected, uh, you'll be surrendered to be questioned, and nothing can be concealed. لا تخفى منكم. There will be nothing that could be concealed away at all. In the just to look into when he said wahiya, the heavens, we can see it's so strong, but subhanallah, on that day it will be nothing. Okay, and we will know and realize how weak it was against the ability of the omnipotent subhanahu wa ta'ala, the real, the greatness of our creator. In this ayat, from ayah number, just so look into it briefly. Here, فإذا نفخ في الصور نفخة واحدة, when it is blown in the trumpet, one blow. This is the first blow, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will permit and He will decree that this world will come to an end. And at that stance, the mountains will be taken from its places, and it will be crushed, just smashed once. And at that stance, it would be known and evident to people that Qiyamah has started. And the heavens will be cracked, and it will be seen so weak, okay? And it won't be as, as attached to each other, as strong as been seen now. And on that day, the angels would be, all over the heavens and these places, and it will be seen that the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, carried by 8, very magnificent angels carrying it. And that day, all people would be subjected, for interrogated, to be reckoned, to be either punished or rewarded. And nothing of the secrets, whatever people conceal in this life, or it won't be concealed and covered that day. Some, just look into some aspects of this ayat, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this nafkha. Here he mentioned فَيَوْمَئِذٍ وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ. At the beginning of this surah, he said Al-Haaqqah مَا الْحَاقَّةُ. And we know that Al-Haaqqah is one of the names of Yawm al-Qiyamah, because it is the truth and it is a reality, and it will come, to be real, for everybody and evident. Or it would, mandate, the consequences of the deeds, to be known, so truly to the people, good, to be rewarded, and bad to be, reprehended and punished for. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. Here he said, فَيَوْمَئِذٍ وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةُ. So he called الساعة here, the hour or the day of judgment. Al-Waqi'ah. So we got three names in this surah for Yawm al-Qiyamah. Al-Haaqqah and Al-Qari'ah. كذبت ثمود وعاد بالقارعة means the day of judgment. And Al-Waqi'ah. And why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give it so many names like this is to show how horrible it is. Because Al-Qari'ah, it would strike suddenly, you know, and everyone would feel such strike, okay? And Al-Waqi'ah, thing that would happen and come to be real, and no doubt about it. So this is to show how to give it a lot of descriptions so people would fear that day, would really work for that day, and whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides to comprehend His Sharia and to practice His deen. Those are the people who understood these horrible warnings, these alarming, points Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives and connotations for His speech to the people. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would say Al-Haaqqah, Al-Qari'ah, Al-Waqi'ah. If you see it, even it sounds, so strong, so that a person would realize what it means. The ayat goes to talk about even the heavens, which is very strong, it would become so weak. So how about you, O human being? If this would happen to this magnificent, universe, if we compare ourselves to the mountains or to the houses we are living in, we are very tiny. If we compare it to the district we are in, almost nothing. If we compare ourselves to the mountains, big mountains, to the area, to the city, to Earth as a whole, to the to other planets, to the stars, to like the sun. The sun is a million times like the Earth. So, and there are stars 100 million and 1,000,000,000 times like star. And there are galaxies, 100 million, times big in size, like our Milky Way or our galaxy. Okay. And our solar systems in the Milky Way, maybe it is the smallest. Allah knows best. So how about this whole universe, which is very strong, very, stable, very, what we can say, sturdy, we can say. But when that day, everything will break up. The destruction will be everywhere, and things will be seen, crushed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. No doubt it is a great ayah from the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And upon this ayat, after this great horror that the people will encounter, they will see and gaze and know and see the angels, surrounding the sides of these great, cracked heavens and earths and planets. And they will see upon that the coming, okay, or they will witness the coming of the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the universe will witness it. And what would happen and what would occur is that, the set for reckoning, for judging the people, will be just in front of the people. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after this ayat, mentioned, he mentioned subhanahu wa ta'ala the reward for the righteous people, and this inshallah will be the next week, and the the punishment, or what would occur to the to the kuffar and to the disbelievers and to those who disbelieved in the Akhirah and they didn't work for it. Okay. After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, let me see. Here, for example, some aspects of this ayat that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned that the earth and the mountain, humilat, would be carried, how we don't know. Okay, because this is one of the matters of the unseen that we cannot attain to know. Okay, would an angel take the whole earth and other angels, grab these mountains up, or due to certain power Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes, things will be carried off its, places. Allah knows best how it would be, but it would be a shock, to the tenants of earth on that time. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save us from such scenes, because such horrible things would happen to the worst, of people and the most wicked. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in the hadith that Yawm al-Qiyamah or al-Qiyamah will not overcome except, will not, come except to the worst of people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned also that, again, that the angels would be on the sides of the heavens, looking and gazing at the people on earth. But again, we don't know how and, how exactly, because we cannot attain to know anything of these matters of the unseen except what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has conveyed to us. And the carrying of the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by, 8 angels, great angels, we cannot attain to know how it is and how exactly it is. And we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is far rich, for a arsh, created a arsh for him. Okay. Yet this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, and we believe in it, and we believe as we believed, of his descriptions and attributes, and one of them that he rose above the throne in a manner that befits his majesty. We believe that on that day, that throne will be, carried by 8 angels. And that day, the reckoning and questioning, would be set, in justice. Okay. And this shows us that there is a threatening, and to the, to the kuffar, that on that day when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا يخفى على الله منكم لا يخفى يومئذ تعرضون لا تخفى عليه على الله منكم خافية يومئذ تعرضون لا تخفى منكم خافية. So that means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to show how people would feel when they become guilty and they are presented, to the people that look at this person, he did so and so and so. It is one of the punishments now used. If they want to punish somebody, they would, get his photo and put it in the mass media. See this person, he did so and so. How humiliating and horrible feeling a person would feel when he sees his pictures shown to the people. So how about if he presented and he can see all of these scenes, okay, not conveyed to him or to be seen, no, in a real time, he would be subjected that to all people seeing his faults or his kufr and what he had, concealed in his heart. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us of bad things. That's why a person always should remember and recall that he should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his secrecy as he fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala openly in front of the people. Because as person doesn't like people to know him or to see him doing something shameful, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is gazing to him all the times and knowing him. He should fear Allah and be shy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala better than fearing and those people. The عرض here, it's like show up. It's like the show or the expedition, or you can say if someone, for example, wants to see, so we have an example to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to his book. If a person, for example, in a company, he wants to see all of his employees, so this is, we call it ta'arud. So it is he will call them to show up in a certain place where he can see all of them, okay, so that he would know their situations, okay. And no doubt that on that day people would be shown and would be displayed in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and barely, and we know, naked, okay, without clothes, and غرلة, Aisha radiallahu anha was amazed, was astonished when she heard that the Prophet that the people on that day, on the day of judgment, will be resurrected, while naked. And she said, O Messenger of Allah, each one will be gazing at the other. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, the horrible event is far beyond being mind whether one is naked or not. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. You can just feel from what the Prophet ﷺ said how horrible and dismay and fear and horror the people were at that stance when they are resurrected to the day of judgment, to the extent that they would be wondering. They want to know what it is and where are they and whether they are wearing or not, or they are in their bodies or not, okay. It's something beyond imagination. And we can feel this sometimes when an earthquake would happen to people, okay. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. The people will be, like the like the ants, or like going out like the you can say like the insects when they go out of their outside of their and animals outside of their homes, spreading everywhere without knowing their direction, without looking at anybody else or any other one, because everyone is busy with his own self and situation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. Imam Ahmad rahimahullah and the Tirmidhi said in a hadith that, and this hadith was related by Imam Ahmad wa Abdul Humayd and the Tirmidhi and Ibn Majah, that Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiallahu anhu said, the people would be displayed, and on the day of judgment, it will be three shows or three stances, okay. So the first two will be arguments and seeking excuses, and the third, where the people will be given their books of deeds in their hands. So some will take with their right hands and some with the left hands. And this hadith says that يعرض الناس يوم القيامة ثلاث عرضات، فأما عرضتان فجدال ومعاذير، وأما الثالثة فعند ذلك تطاير الصحف في الأيدي فآخذ بيمينه وآخذ بشماله. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. This would happen, and this what comes to the ayat in ayah number 19 to onwards. The first ayat is for the believers, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فأما من أوتي كتابه بيمينه فيقول هاؤم اقرءوا كتابيه إني ظننت أني ملاق حسابيه فهو في عيشة راضية في جنة عالية قطوفها دانية كلوا واشربوا هنيئا بما أسلفتم في الأيام الخالية. This ayat, verily or indeed, the person who would be given his book with his right hand, he would say, come on, take my book, or this is my book, read it, look into it. I believed that I would receive such, reckoning, or that I'll be reckoned, and judged for my deeds. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَهُوَ فِي عِيشَةٍ رَاضِيَةٍ, he will be in a blessed, pleasing, good life in the highest level in Jannah, and this Jannah has its, fruits very close and very handy to them. And Allah, it will be said to them from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and through His angels, Kulu washrabu haniyan, eat therein and drink, in peace and being blessed with that. Do what you have, done in the the other days or the last days or the the past days. هاؤم in Arabic, هاؤم اقرأوا كتابي means take, خذوا, خذ, ها. إني ظننت here doesn't mean I doubted or I suspected. No, rather I believed and I learned and I come to realize it and know, okay, for sure. But due to the fact that it is a knowledge not being witnessed, we use ظننت. And ظننت could mean belief as aqidah, or it could mean suspicion or doubt. ملاق, that I would, encounter, and gaze and witness and find the result of my deeds. راضية, أي يرضى بها صاحبها. The person, عيشة راضية, a living that would be satisfactory to the person. Okay. And عالية is the highest post, elevated Jannah. And قطوف, قطوفها دانية. قطوف, in it, when we say قطوف, means anything that's, fruitful and it's ready to be harvested. Dania, very close, very nearby, not very far. Okay. And it was mentioned that in Jannah, from its blessings, that when a person just look and gaze something and he desires it, if he likes this fruit will come to him. He doesn't need to do any activity to take it. Okay. And when he takes it, take that fruit, and another fruit would be in place which is better than the first one, in different colors, in things beyond imagination. As we know, the Messenger ﷺ said, in Jannah ما لا عين رأت ولا أذن سمعت ولا خطر على قلب بشر. يعني in Jannah, what an eye has not seen, what an ear has not heard of, and what an eye has not seen, and it cannot pass as a thought in a human being mind. So it cannot be even, pass as a thought in our minds. هنيئا, without any, the honey is the thing that's so blessed, so satisfactory that that a person will not be afraid that it will be taken away from him, or it will have any bad consequences, or it will have any flu or problem, by taking it. In this life, even if we eat something, we might, for example, something might stuck in our teeth and it will be painful, or it will, for example, it might sometimes, hurt us in our in our own mouth, or when we take it. But in Jannah, it's clear of all defects and problems and hardships. There is no at all problems whatsoever, neither upon taking it nor afterwards. And we have known from the Sunnah that the Prophet ﷺ said there will be no urination and there will be no excretion in Jannah, defecation. But it would what they eat would go like the air. Okay, it would go out from the mouth like the you know like a hiccup. 'Cause when you hiccup, things go out. Huh? Jusha. Okay, and there will be no uh, any problems we suffer in this life. It won't be that day. Okay, and all of the people of Jannah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be amongst them, will be at the same age, at the same beauty and spirit and clear hearts and peaceful, life. And aslaftum, what had passed, what had you preceded and done, in the past days. Khaliya means madhiya or past days. So after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, the the day of judgment and would happen, He subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about the people of Jannah, and that the people who will gain his reward and will gain Jannah and his pleasure all over that, they will be given their books by their right hands. And from their happiness and joy, they will say to the people, come on, ta'alu, ha'um, iqra'u kitabiyah, read my book, out of great joy. Sublime example to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what He said. When a person, he was afraid that he won't get a good grade at the university, and it turned out that he got the highest marks. How overjoyed he will be, okay? He will show his certificates to all people, okay? And we can see now the people, they are, showing even anything on the social media, Allah musta'an, to the extent that even their offenses and sins and bad things, boasting, a'udhu billah, thinking that this is a praise to them, but it would be to their dismay and their destruction, to add to their sins over that. Because when a person does not conceal bad things and the people imitate him in that thing, he will gain, he will gain from their sins. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saves, as they will have such sins. So from the great joy of this person, he would call upon people, see my book. Okay, because as you know, in this life, whatever we do, we cannot guarantee ourselves Jannah. And this believer on the day of judgment, when he gains such, great honor to be given his book with his right hand, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be, fitting for such honor. He will know that he has, passed all the agonies of this dunya, the problems, and now he gained Allah's pleasure, and he has gained the ultimate bliss. So he likes to show it to others, okay, so that they will also, uh, feel happy or feel joy for him. And he would say why he gained such degree, why he gained such rank of being blessed. إني ظننت أني ملاق حسابية. Okay, so he would say, I am so happy, I am overjoyed because I have known for truth that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reckon me and he will make it an easy one. Again, إني ظننت أني ملاق حسابية. You know, so I was having a great, one, a great, a good, thought about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make my hisab, my reckoning, an easy one. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we know, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, أنا عند ظن عبدي بي فليظن بي ما شاء. When a person comes to do something good, he should fear that he might have not done it as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, but he wishes, and hopes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept it from him, you know, uh, thinking of his great mercy and great compassion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not burden a soul beyond its, capacity. Yet it should not take him to leave not doing anything, yeah? But he will do his best, okay? Unlike some people, for example, they don't do anything, they don't go salah, and they said, we have a good thought of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us. No, if you would have a good thought that Allah will forgive you, you would have done good. As Al-Hasan al-Basri, rahimahullah, said. He said when he saw some people doing something bad, and they said, it was said to him that those people claim that أنهم يحسنون الظن بربهم. He said, لو أحسنوا الظن لأحسنوا العمل. If they would have actually, have a good thought about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He would forgive them, they would have done their best, to please Him. Supreme example to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because those people, if they claim that they love Allah, they have good thought of Allah, He is a compassion, they should feel, they should fear Him. They should not display anything that goes against His, what pleases Him. Okay, and go to His displeasures. That's why Al-Hasan radiallahu anha on this ayah, he said, المؤمن أحسن الظن بربه فأحسن العمل للآخرة. The believer has good, ظن in Allah, in his Lord, in his Rabb. So he has, done his best, to perfect his deeds for the hereafter. While the kafir, he has done bad. Why? Because he has a bad, guess or bad dhan in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his Lord. So he has done bad. How come Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the ayat says, أَفَنَجْعَلُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ كَالْمُجْرِمِينَ? Would we make the believers like the disbelievers, the Muslims like the criminals and the bad doers and the wicked? مَا لَكُمْ كَيْفَ تَحْكُمُونَ? How come you judge? So if a person thinks good of Allah, he should realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not pay both the same. He will not give, the good doers like the bad doers. Okay. فهو في عيش. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the abode or the result of such, good dhan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Husn al-dhan, the perfect thought a person have of Allah should urge him and promote him to perfect his deeds to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to gain more knowledge, to ask the ulama for everything that he doubts to the best of his ability. If he cannot reach ulama, at least he refers to the Quran, to the Sunnah, to the fatwa of the ulama, the trustworthy ulama. Alhamdulillah, it's now just, you know, just a click away. Allah musta'an. So he mentioned here that this person who had been so overjoyed, فهو في عيشة راضية. So he would, live a life which is so pleasing to him due to the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon him. And this pleasure, it's everlasting pleasure. Okay. It is so magnificent. So, you cannot attain to realize how, how good such life is, free of all, you know, uh, you know, evil, free of any tiny evil that could be encountered. And in this life, uh, whatever you think of good thing you may live in, you still have bad consequences of it. So if you have the best water you like to drink, which is cold water, but this cold water might cause, sore throat. It might cause, flu. It might cause, sickness. But in the hereafter, nothing like that at all. A person will not, be afraid or fear any consequences of what he encounters in such, a magnificent, splendid, blessings, you know, prepared by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his righteous servants. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be amongst them. And it will be said to them, to give them more, you know, more thought and spiritual feeling of such blessings. كلوا واشربوا هنيئا بما أسلفتم في الأيام الخالية. Eat therein, okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would say to them, eat whom you or you whom I'm pleased with you, and so that's why I granted you my Jannah. Eat from the the fruits and the good things that I prepared for you in it, and drink from its blessings. Okay, blessed drinks. You know, such food and such drink, there will be no bad consequences or evil consequences of it. It will be honey. It will be so easy digested. So it will be a blessing in all of its aspects. When it is taken, when it is swollen, when it goes out, no bad consequences ever that could appear or could happen due to that. So it will be hani'an, okay, Marianne, and it would be a reward for what you have done previously and in this life. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase us in knowledge and faith. May He grant us Jannah, and we'll stop here, inshallah, because the time is end. And next week, inshallah, we'll carry on in Surah Al-Haaqqah from ayah 37, from ayah 25 up to ayah 37, Surah number 69. I urge you to try to read it before you come, so that you will correct first your recitation, inshallah. And another thing, try also to know some of the meanings so that you can draw some aspects of it and you can understand it more, and it will be, inshallah, it will be committed to heart. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا رب العالمين. اللهم نعوذ برضاك من سخطك ومعافاتك من عقوبتك، وبك منك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين وجزاكم الله خيرا. If you have questions, you can ask. If there is no questions, we will, inshallah, stop and leave here. May Allah reward you. Okay. Okay. طيب, see you, inshallah, next week. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for attentive listening. وجزاكم الله خيرا، وصلى الله على محمد، والحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك، أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت، أستغفرك وأتوب إليك، وصلى الله على محمد، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
تفضل أبو أمير, you have something to say?
No, Sheikh, I made a mistake. I want to make salam only.
No. طيب, السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام
See you
ورحمة الله
soon. السلام.
وبركاته.